Most of us think of trauma as a single catastrophic event, something loud, visible, and undeniable. But for many, childhood trauma is not a roar. It is a whisper that follows you into adulthood, shaping your decisions, your health, and your heartbeat without you even realizing it. Have you ever felt like you're living with a set of internal glitches that you can't quite explain? Perhaps you are overly cautious, or maybe you find it impossible to sit still in silence. These aren't just personality quirks. They are often the invisible echoes of a past where you had to adapt just to survive. Childhood trauma changes the architecture of the developing brain. It recalibrates your nervous system to be on high alert even when the danger has been gone for decades. Because these survival strategies were formed when you were so young, they become your normal. You might not even remember the specific events, but your body certainly does. These hidden signs are the language your inner child uses to tell you that something is still unhealed. Ignoring these signs is like trying to drive a car with the check engine light on. Eventually, the system will break down. In this video, we are peeling back the layers of 5 subtle, often overlooked behaviors that signal deep-seated trauma. Recognizing them is the first step toward reclaiming the life you were meant to have before the world told you who you had to be. Before we dive into the first sign, I want to ask, do you ever feel like you're carrying a weight that doesn't belong to you? If you're ready to face these hidden truths and want to stay with us until the very end to understand how to heal, please leave a 1 in the comments below. It lets us know that you are committed to your own journey of discovery. The first hidden sign of childhood trauma is an overwhelming sense of hyper-responsibility. Are you the person who feels responsible for everyone's mood in the room? Do you feel an intense wave of anxiety if a friend seems slightly upset, immediately assuming it's your fault? This isn't just being a kind person. It is often a trauma response known as parentification. If you grew up in a home where the adults were emotionally unstable, addicted, or physically absent, you may have been forced to step into the role of the emotional caretaker far too early. You learned that the only way to stay safe or to receive love was to be the fixer. You became the bridge over troubled waters, mediating parents' arguments or comforting a depressed caregiver. In adulthood, this manifests as a pathological need to solve everyone's problems, often at the expense of your own well-being. Hyper-responsibility is a way of maintaining control. In an unpredictable childhood, fixing things gave you a sense of agency. Today, you might find it impossible to delegate tasks at work or feel deep guilt when you can't help someone, even if it's beyond your control. You are still that small child trying to keep the house from falling down. Learning that you are only responsible for your own emotions and that others are responsible for theirs is one of the most difficult but liberating lessons for a trauma survivor. The second sign is the chameleon effect, or the loss of a solid sense of self. Do you find that your personality, your opinions, and even your tone of voice change depending on who you are with? While everyone adapts socially to some degree, trauma survivors often do this to an extreme. You have become so skilled at reading the room and anticipating what people want from you that you've forgotten who you actually are when no one is watching. This is a survival mechanism born from the need to be agreeable to avoid conflict or rejection. If being yourself was too loud, too sensitive, or too much for your caregivers, you learned to mask your true identity behind a curated version of what was acceptable. You became a people pleaser because, in your past, pleasing people was the only way to guarantee safety. You might look successful and well-liked on the outside, but inside, there is a nagging sense of emptiness, a feeling that no one truly knows the real you because you haven't dared to show them yet. If you're starting to see your own patterns in these descriptions, it can be a lot to process. We create these videos to help you realize you aren't alone in this. If this analysis is resonating with you, please take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support allows us to keep producing these deep dives into the psychology of healing, ensuring that these messages of hope reach the people who need them most. The third and fourth signs are 2 sides of the same coin: hypervigilance and emotional numbing. Hypervigilance is that constant waiting for the other shoe to drop. Even when life is going well, you feel uneasy. You might startle easily at loud noises, or you find yourself constantly scanning people's facial expressions for the slightest hint of anger. Your nervous system is stuck in high alert mode, unable to believe that the war is truly over. On the flip side, many survivors experience emotional numbing. Because your childhood emotions were too intense or too dangerous to feel, your brain learned to flip the switch to off. You might feel flat or disconnected from your own body. You struggle to feel joy just as much as you struggle to feel sadness. This freeze response is the body's way of protecting itself from a sensory overload that it perceives as a threat. Both states are exhausting. Living in hypervigilance wears down your physical health, leading to chronic fatigue or autoimmune issues, as Dr. Gabor Mate often discusses. Meanwhile, emotional numbing robs you of the richness of life. You aren't calm, you are shut down. Recognizing that your body is still trying to protect you from ghosts of the past is vital. Healing requires teaching your nervous system that it is finally safe to dial down the intensity and feel the full spectrum of your human experience once again. The fifth and final sign is a deep-seated difficulty with trust and intimacy. This doesn't always look like pushing people away. Sometimes it looks like clinging too hard out of fear of abandonment. If your primary caregivers were inconsistent, loving one day and cold the next, you learned that love is a gamble. As an adult, you might struggle to believe that people actually like you. Or you might sabotage good relationships because safety feels boring or suspicious compared to the chaos you grew up with. So, how do we stop these hidden signs from running our lives? The first step is awareness. You cannot heal what you do not acknowledge. You have to realize that these behaviors are not who you are. They are what happened to you. It is about moving from a state of survival to a state of being. This involves grieving the childhood you didn't get to have and giving yourself the permission to be imperfect and inconvenient for the first time in your life. Healing is not about forgetting the past. It's about making sure the past no longer holds the steering wheel of your future. You've spent long enough being good for everyone else. It's time to be kind to yourself. Which of these hidden signs did you recognize most in yourself today? Is it the constant guilt, the need to please, or the physical exhaustion of being on high alert? Please share your story in the comments. Your vulnerability is a bridge that helps others realize they aren't alone in their struggle. Don't forget to like and subscribe as we continue this journey of collective healing together. You've been a survivor for a long time. Now it's time to thrive.